Hello, everyone, and welcome to your weekly Power Lounge. This is your place to hear authentic conversations from those who have power to share. My name is Amy Vaughan, and I am the owner and Chief Empowerment Officer of Together Digital, a diverse and collaborative community of women who work in digital and choose to share their knowledge, power, and connections. You can join the movement at togetherindigital.com. And today I am thrilled to welcome someone who has been living the entrepreneur dream and reality for over 2 decades. Rhea Allen is the president and co-founder of Peppershock Media, and a certified women-owned business that has been building brands and bottom lines since 2003. She's also the host of the Marketing Expedition podcast. This has been a fun little podcast episode swap. I highly encourage you to go check out her podcast. I had a blast being on it a couple weeks ago. So we're excited to have her here with us. Her podcast, Marketing Expedition, is ranked in the top 5% most popular podcasts globally. Go, Rhea. And as she's also an adjunct marketing professor. But here's what makes Rhea's story so stand out. She has built all of this alongside her business partner and husband, Drew, while raising 2 kids, sons, so boy, mom, and keeping their spark alive both professionally and personally. Today, Rhea is sharing how she and Drew balances marriage, marketing, and making it all work without losing themselves in the process. We're diving into entrepreneurship, boundaries without losing yourself. Oh, no, I read that line again. We're diving. I'm trying to stay above the water. We're diving into entrepreneurship boundaries, burnout, creative collaboration, and real talk about what it actually takes. This is both a thriving business and a thriving relationship. Rhea, welcome to the Power Lounge.
Well, thank you so much, Amy. Wow, that was a lot to read.
It is for a Friday, but we did it. So I'm just going to pat myself on the back.
Yes,
and
you did.
That's the hard part. That's over. The conversation, never, especially with you, Rhea.
Awesome.
The 2 of you have been in business, partners and spouses, which I think a lot of us that are listening right now are like, well, that's not for everybody, and not everybody could do that, for over 2 decades. And that is, obviously remarkable and wonderful. What made you decide to build a company together? And what did you think at the time would be the hardest part?
Well, I guess it all started back when I was working at a TV station here locally in the Boise market. And in comes walking this guy. I'm like, who is that? And anyway, he got hired, and it turns out I, at the time, was his boss. So we didn't date or anything. And I, at the time, was already dating somebody else. And, that didn't work out. But, so we were friends and hung out and, got to know each other for quite a while just as friends. And, they always say, like, friends first. So that kind of worked out. And fast forward, and he actually quit working in the TV station and worked for Micron, but then they laid people off, and he decided, I want to move to Seattle. And I decided, well, I do too. I want to get out of Dodge, right? I want to go explore the world. And so I had to finish my undergrad at Boise State. And then we both moved to Seattle, and I worked at Northwest Cable News and then Fox Station. He got a degree at the Art Institute. And so we lived there for a little while until he got his degree. And then I worked on my master's degree at the same time. And while I was in Seattle, got a whole bunch of big city experience working at the Fox Station, and did promotions in the afternoon, did news at night. And really just after working news, it's a kind of a love-hate relationship, right? You work Easter and Christmas and New Year's Eve and all the things, all the holidays. And at the time, the main newscast director had been there for years and years, and he's still there to this day. So I really had no forward movement up. And there was one point where he took some time off for his wife who had twins, and I ended up working 52 days straight. Filling in for him and for, and I was like, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. And my undergrad was in mass comm and marketing. I kind of combined 2 degrees into one. And then my master's degree was entrepreneurship and marketing. And so I've always had the entrepreneurial bug in me. Growing up with my grandparents, they both had a farm and a motel, and just had that kind of work ethic. So fast forward, we moved back, we boomeranged back to Boise and got married in August of 2003 and started the business in October of 2003. So we've not known any other way.
Yeah. That's so fantastic. And you've obviously successfully grown Peppershock Media. Now it is a certified women-owned small business. You work on a lot of different industries. Looking back, what moment made you realize that you needed to establish stronger boundaries between work and home to actually sustain growth? Because I can only imagine you work together, you live together, it would be so easy to just work nonstop, which is
Yeah.
what you were leaving for, right? That's why you went and did your own thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and we are also growing babies together a couple years
Yeah.
later, our oldest son was born, but, I think the, the, I guess the, I don't know, the secret sauce or whatever it is just that we really balance each other out. So if
Mhm.
I have a networking event to go to in the evening, he would take care of the boys or vice versa. He's a morning person. I'm not. I'm a night owl
Mhm.
because working news in Seattle I got off at, the news goes on at 11 o'clock at night. And so I wouldn't get out and, so I was just always a night owl and he's a morning person, which
Mhm.
again balances each other out. And honestly, there's a lot of things that are yin and yang about us. And I think that is really the key that helped us make it work, because we could really, I mean, I'm a little more, I can take risks. He's a little more risk adverse. So then we kind of, compromise and balance
Mhm.
and talk things through. And that's been, I think the pattern for us is being able to just understand what we're doing and how we're doing it and scheduling everything that we can as much as we can. I mean, we kind of live and die by our calendars these days, but,
Oh yeah.
and some flexibility too. Like when one of the boys was sick or when, something happened, we just, maneuvered the things that we needed to and worked it out. And, yeah, sure. There's times that could be stressful or, heated moments, I will say,
Mhm.
in multiple different ways.
Mhm.
But I think that we have an understanding, a mutual understanding of, how he can help me and how I can support him. And it has been, yeah, after 22 years of just really understanding each other's needs. And he's actually a really good guy too. I mean, he brings me coffee in the morning and,
Mhm.
he cooks and cleans, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Mhm. Mhm.
That is also very helpful. He's a really, just, giving and thoughtful person that can, help around the house and in the business. So
Right.
yeah.
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 Now having that balance and that intentionality, I think is really good. And then able to also feel like you can have those conversations that might feel like, I don't know what your all's style is, but like, if one's confrontational, one's non-confrontational. If you're both non-confrontational, it can get really challenging when you're kind of dealing with not just like household decisions and money decisions and family decisions, but business decisions. Do you feel like you guys do anything extra out of just like kind of being in sync from a personality standpoint? Are there other intentional efforts you guys make in order to make sure that each one of you feels seen and heard, not just as a partner in your
Yeah.
marriage, but also as business partners?
Yeah. So we follow, well, I mean, not necessarily religiously follow the EOS
Sure.
system, but I mean,
Mhm.
we do incorporate quite a bit.
Love
And,
EOS.
same page meetings. And,
Mhm.
I am the person who is ideation is one of my top strengths, and I come
Mhm.
up with so many different ideas. Now, it's awesome to have the team to help implement some of those ideas. And he's sort of the sounding board that I will come up with, and sometimes fast and furious ideas. And
Mhm.
he's going to be like one that's pulling the reins and say, whoa, Ray, let's like slow down a little bit and like let's finish what we started and the execution part of it. So the same page meetings are really helpful. And it used to be when the boys were little, my grandma and his grandma would make it a point to watch the boys just so that we would have date night at least
Yeah.
once a month.
Mhm.
And that was helpful and meaningful. And then the boys could go see their grandparents and be a part of that. Um, so there's different things that we would do and places we would go. And sometimes we would just, take weekends off or day trips or road trips or something. A lot of what happens in decisions that get made is when we're driving on long road trips somewhere
Mm.
because we have that dedicated time that we're in the
Yeah.
car together. And now my oldest son, he goes to school and it takes about 10 hours to get to where he's at.
Wow. Yeah.
And recently we have a production van, and we needed to go take him some furniture because we just bought a townhouse with him together, and he had no furniture, so we took a road trip, and yeah, I mean, it just, those are the moments that we make decisions and talk things through, or we'll listen to audiobooks, or we'll listen to podcasts, and just get ideas and things that we can do to continuously improve. Or we definitely practice continuous improvements a lot, and just processes and those types of things. And the big news is we just bought another agency.
Oh,
Yeah,
congrats. That's
yeah. And so
huge.
now we have new employee and 25 new clients all in
Wow.
overnight, right? As of December 1st. So there's a guy that showed up to one of my networking events, and I'm like, Tom, what are you doing here? You're my competitor. He's like, I come in peace. I want to take you to lunch. And he's going to eventually retire. He's in the
Yeah.
business now with us. And so we got to talking, and he wanted to find somebody that would take care of his clients just as he's taken care of his clients, and so anyway, that's a whole nother ball game to put together and put into motion. But I think
It's fantastic.
we can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess on that note, burnout is kind of a real thing, right? Within digital marketing, advertising, the clients, the demands, especially when you're gaining 25. How have you worked? Like, what are some actionable things you've done to help manage the pressure of running a business, teaching, hosting a podcast, and then also being present for your family without burning out completely? Because that's a lot right there that you're doing.
Oh yeah, well, there's always a lot. I think that I've always had high energy anyway, and
Hmm.
so slowing down is, I mean, it's a good part of what I do occasionally. Like I'll specifically schedule time away, or like a friend of mine, we there's a mountain town here called McCall. It's a couple hours away. Just take a weekend and get away, right?
Hmm.
Do kind of a spa day sort of thing. I do intentionally put time in to just slow down, take a break. But while I'm in the midst of it, while I'm teaching, while I'm doing podcasts and running the business and family and all those things, I really do live and die by the calendar. And if I have it in the
Hmm.
calendar, it's going to happen more likely than not.
Yeah.
And unless I get sick, which does happen every once in a while, but
Sure.
and still, the nice thing is you can work from home when you have to. But I think the aspect of just making sure that you spend time doing your nails, like I'm showing my
Yeah.
nails, like I every once in a while a friend of mine and I get together to do that, and just slowing down to do the things that can give you some of that me time, and
Hmm.
um, allow your brain to relax. I do sometimes I'll binge watch some Netflix, I'll
Yeah.
admit, just because I want to turn my brain off and just watch some
Hmm.
dumb show,
Yeah.
and those things kind of help, to just unwind and um, not have my brain going 24/7 like it otherwise could.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about pacing yourself, right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And
Yeah.
if you're not pacing yourself and taking the breaks that you need, like you're not going to go farther faster. You are going to collapse, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
At
totally.
mile 22. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree. I
Mhm.
think rest is a great way to actually perform better. I think sometimes we fool ourselves into thinking that, oh, rest is actually going to slow me down. But no, what you get from that rest is going to help you perform better,
I told a
and do
friend
better.
the other day, you need to rest so that you
Mhm.
can do all of the rest
Yes, yes, that's a great one. I love
of the
that.
things.
Rest so you can do the rest, 100%. I'm
Yeah.
right there with you on that. So we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. Both of you and Drew are co-founders. How do you navigate the creative differences, or when you disagree on a business decision, how do you keep that from spilling like into the family life and the family dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, I won't lie. There's definitely, discussions that come up when we're home, and, our boys know the business just as much as we do because they've been around it and seen it and been a part of it. And when
Mhm.
they were little, I would take them to networking functions, so they knew lots of things too. So it's really, we're integrated. I mean, the whole work-life balance thing is I think, somewhat of a farce, that you can't necessarily do that 100%.
Sure.
But now, I think that we do take time away, and like, let's just not talk about that right now, and let's
Yeah.
just relax, or you know what, my brain's done for today. Let's just, um, focus on something else or do something else. And we play games a lot and
Mm-hmm.
do some gameplay things. And I love trivia.
Yeah.
I love trivia. And my dad is like this walking, I don't know, encyclopedia, and so
Mm-hmm.
and it's fun because we can go to trivia night and have the different generations, and there's something there for everyone.
Yeah.
So it's a really fun thing to do. So yeah, sometimes we'll just do some things that are just for fun, and that helps a lot.
Yeah, no, that's good. Well, because I've also been learning lately um, about like co-regulation, when you get dysregulated because of stress and burnout, which we were just talking about, or if
Yeah.
you're in a state of conflict over something in a business, in a close relationship, your nervous system's like, what? And you could be all fight or flight. So this is a great tip for anybody, whether you're in a romantic relationship or in a work relationship that gets kind of contentious.
Yeah.
Going for a walk together, playing cards together, anything like that can help you like co-regulate.
Yeah.
Anything like that kind of takes you out of that moment of like fear and flight and
Yeah.
brings you back into kind of calm and logic and left side of the brain stuff.
Yeah.
And I've even started doing that kind of things with my kids,
Okay.
just as well, to kind of like give us both time and space to kind of
Mm-hmm.
chill out for a minute and maybe pause the conversation and discussion and give us, it's not again, like the rest, right? So you can do the rest. It's not a distraction to permanently detract. It's
Yeah.
to help bring yourself back into regulation. So then you can kind of come
Yeah.
at the problem one more time, maybe a little less hot.
Right. Yeah. No, I know. It's definitely helpful to take a pause. One thing I also do is I have a ladies poker group, and I
Oh, I
love to
love
play poker.
it.
And it's nice to go and see the ladies and hang out with them.
Uh-huh.
'Cause, I'm a boy mom, right? At home I
Yeah.
have all a bunch of boys, so it's kind of
Yeah.
fun to
You're
go
surrounded.
to do that. And it's fun to get away and do those things. And then Drew,
Hmm.
also has his friends, and he does, the hunting, fishing, hiking, biking things. And so it's also good for us because we work and live and sleep
Yeah.
together, that we, sometimes have time apart from each
Yeah.
other too. And that's okay.
Absolutely.
And whenever he's gone hunting for, a couple weeks at a time, it's like, I miss him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I love it. That's good advice. All right, let's talk about your podcast, The Marketing
Yeah.
Expedition. It is in the top 5% of most popular podcasts globally. Again, preach, way to go.
Thank you.
Awesome. What is it like building that alongside everything else? And what does it add to your life and business? Because I know I could speak on this. So I'm kind of curious
Yeah.
on from your standpoint, because
Yeah.
it was such a delightful experience being on your show as well.
Yay. Well, thank you. So the cool thing about the Marketing Expedition podcast, I mean, I've been podcasting for years and years and years. Before
Hmm.
podcasting was such a cool thing to do, I just did it
Right.
whenever I wanted to, or whenever I had somebody cool in the studio already that we were interviewing. I'd just say, hey, let's record a podcast. You cool with that? And then we
Hmm.
would. And then pandemic happened, and we started seeing the numbers like explode of people downloading. And I thought the opposite. I was like, oh, no one's going to listen because they're not commuting anywhere. They're commuting from the couch to the kitchen, right? They're not going to
Yeah.
listen. But boy, was I wrong. And
Mm,
suddenly it just imploded, and we started getting, 60,000 downloads and
that's
all
great.
over the world. And I
Hmm.
loved that. And so we did it every week. We now do it bi-weekly just because
Yeah.
it's like,
It's a lot.
during COVID, you had time, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay. And so we do pre-record and put them out there. And I have people come to the studio too, the studio that I'm recording
Hmm.
it now. And it's been great because a couple things happen. One, I learned from industry experts from all over the world, and
Yeah.
very interesting, cutting edge, bleeding edge things that people are talking about. And that is so critical to our business, because
Yeah.
now I can implement things that I've learned. And I've also gained new vendors because of people that
Yep.
we've talked to and interviewed,
Right.
and partners from all over that we worked with. Then thirdly, I guess I'd say is, it's great for our clients too. And
Hmm.
it's just that thought leadership and authority that I get to interview them and
Yeah.
have them, develop that relationship. And I've developed clients over,
Hmm.
podcast guesting and
Yep.
guests. It's great. And then I guess the final thing really is, it gives some whenever I speak on a stage or whenever I'm asked to do things, it gives some of that like thought leadership and authority of you know, reputation building and things like that. So when you say it's a top 5% podcast globally, you know, it's like, wow, that's so cool to hear. I mean, I want 1%, right? I'm a little competitive too. That's a little bit of my strengths, but I think, and definitely building it up over time and having some really amazing, cool people like you on the podcast. You know, it's been such a journey and growing that show and then monetizing it, right? Monetizing the mic. So
Smart.
It's been fun. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congrats. It is no small feat. Podcasting, like you said, when you started, there was nothing like kind of in this space and happening. And now
Yeah.
there's a lot out there. And I do think people do miss or do underestimate the power of like looking at networking as a way or looking at podcasting as a way to network and build relationships. And I don't mean networking in like the slimy transactional way, but in like the true relationship building kind of way that can end up being transformative. Like you said, finding vendors, finding clients, you know, just finding new professional friends. Like that's just really, I think what I enjoy best about it for sure. And I think that that's what makes it easy to give it time, right? When you're already so busy is because you know the value of that. So you're like, oh, well, 1 hour every other week. Yeah. If it leads to new business, oh, why wouldn't I? If it gets me a great vendor, why wouldn't I? If I make a new BFF, let's go.
Even better.
You know?
Let's go. I know. And that's the fun thing too. Like, and sometimes I have people come back or they'll have me come back too, because like what we're doing is pod swapping. Right. And it's nice because now we can both promote each other's show. And it also builds, and the other cool thing, I guess the bonus thing is now we have all this amazing content that we can pull from and do. And I think that being able to have snippets of all of these things that we can put out there, little quotable moments and things, helps with social media, helps with the recognition and you know, just having that visibility online and in person. And when I speak on stages, you know, I'll have them download the QR code or look at the QR code to do the podcast and always see a spike of it. And it's nice to hear back when people hear the show and have wonderful comments to say. It makes me feel good.
It does. I agree. Yeah. It's always kind of trippy when people are like, I heard you on this show. I listened to the whole episode. It was so good. I'm like, it's very real, but also really nice because again, it's like you know, I think in your show, like, I feel like the whole conversation, everything was so easy and relatable. You know, it makes people feel hopefully a little less alone in what they might be facing in or dealing with, because we talk about just about everything on the Together Digital Power Lounge. Like, I don't know that there's many topics between mental health and women's health and what we do as marketers that we haven't really touched on in leadership, and in ways that have been really, truly vulnerable. And I appreciate it so much because a lot of women are kind of living on an island, and don't always have the partners that they need, you know, to kind of muddle through or get through or figure it out. You know, they feel like they have to do it all and on their own. And so I think that's where like community and podcasting and being a part of podcasting community is a really great thing. So yeah, shout out to all of you that are listening, live listeners, by the way. You can drop questions into the chat if you have any for Ray. But I would say, like, I encourage you, like, step out there. If you're looking at public speaking, I think podcast guesting is a great way to just get your chops, like to build your chops, get your muscle built up on like doing interviewing, answering questions, finding your talking points. And to me, because it's more conversational, I think it all comes out more naturally once you start doing actual public speaking, in my opinion. Because no offense, all my live listeners, but half the time I just forget. I get so consumed by the conversation with my person. I just am like, oh yeah, y'all are here listening. Just kidding. I know you all are here and I love you and appreciate you, but do recommend you considering it. So don't be shy. Look around. Was it Podmatch? That's a good one to look at. For podcasting, you don't have to start your own podcast right away. That is an endeavor of its own, but guesting alone, great way to build relationships.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we get a lot of people who want to be on the show. And I always say, listen, if you come on the show and you're there just to promote yourself for, you know, an hour and just be, you know, kind of salesy the whole time. Nobody wants that. And that's not what I want either for our audience. Right. And so I always want to make sure that people give value and have something of value to give and share. And then, okay, we'll drop the stuff at the end. But I think, if people understand that people want to listen to stories, people want to hear
Mm-hmm.
things that are going to be relatable to them. And
Yep.
so when people are thinking about being on a podcast or being a podcast host, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, think about your audience and who it
Yeah.
is that you want to hear and have resonate with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I agree. That's such good advice. Yeah, 100%. I think that making it useful, making it relatable, making it real, is so very, very important. You're going to see a lot more come out of that otherwise. But yeah, no, great call. All right. When you look at couples in business together, what is one thing that separates those who thrive from those who maybe struggle, would you say?
Ooh, I mean, I would say that we've struggled and thrived up and down all around
Sure.
too. So we kind of
Right?
are in either way. I think those that thrive have a support staff and team to
Mm-hmm.
build them, and not just the support staff that they might hire, but maybe the support around them. So one of the things that
Mm-hmm.
we did early on was I made a pepper shock advisory board of people who
Mm-hmm.
wanted to help see us succeed. And I had former executives that have retired. I had a lawyer. I had a financial planner. I had a
Smart.
client sit on our
Mm-hmm.
advisory
Oh, I
board.
love it.
And I think that was really helpful, especially
Mm-hmm.
since we were kind of young at the time when we started the business. I mean, I was 25, didn't know
Gosh,
what I was doing, right?
love it.
And I mean, I had to fake it till I made it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of it. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like asking questions and having a mentors is
Mm-hmm.
super critical in being able to thrive. The other thing I did is we did a ladies mastermind group and
Mm-hmm.
um, worked with and just had other leaders in that ladies mastermind group.
Mm-hmm.
And there's about 10 of us. Not everybody could always show up every time, but once a
Sure.
month we'd get together for a couple hours over lunch.
Mm-hmm.
We paid for lunch. That's that we didn't charge or anything,
Yeah.
because it was just all of us coming together. And I think we process a lot of issues that leaders go through.
Yeah.
We had like the CEO of a credit union, another a person that had worked in healthcare that got burnt out on healthcare and then started her business and
Mm.
was, coming from healthcare being a nurse to now starting a business is completely different. So we processed a lot of things. Another gal was like she was an event planner and wanted to go big, and so we processed so many things for each
Yeah.
other, and we learned from other people what they were
Mm-hmm.
going through and how we can incorporate that. I mean, I everything from employee issues to, I want to when we moved building spaces years ago, I needed to process, do we want to move? Is this the right decision?
Sure.
What am I not thinking about that I should? And maybe some of the
Mm-hmm.
people had already been through a move before. And, oh, Ray, you got to think about this. And, oh, you got to spend money on this. And, oh, you got to think about that. And you didn't think about this. I'm like, oh my gosh, right? So it
Mm-hmm.
was just a really good thing to lean on other people's expertise and experiences. And, you do have to be careful about who you take advice from, right?
Sure.
Sometimes their advice may not necessarily be 100% applicable to yours or
Mm-hmm.
your situation. So obviously you have to discern what advice you're getting and how
Mm-hmm.
you are going to incorporate it. But having those people around you and having the support is definitely is you
Yeah.
can't go at this alone. You really
No.
have to have other and lean on other people's
Mm-hmm.
expertise. I have to do one more shout out to a really dear friend of mine. We went through an emerging leaders program together through the SBA, Small Business
Mm-hmm.
Administration, and she's a CFO, CPA, smart person. And I was like, I really want to be in her group because she does numbers and I'm not
Yeah.
great at numbers. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have a little bit of dyslexia. So numbers and I know that I
Right.
need that.
Yeah.
And she has been like such a great asset and person in my life and just, lean on for a friendship, but also just, she's so smart. Cheryl is her name. And I am so glad that we met because she has, just kind of acted as a pocket CFO, if you will. And I think that having those support people around you who are smarter than you in certain areas have been the secret to really being, thriving versus, surviving. Yeah.
No, that's great advice. No, 100%. Like never underestimate the power of your peers and peer mentorship. I think sometimes we think we have to go to people who have 10, 15 years on us, but there's something really amazing about people who are kind of can be in the thick of it with you because that's maybe where they were like a half step ago,
Yep.
or maybe you're just a half step ahead of them. And so you kind of know exactly where they're
Oh yeah.
at, what they're going through, 10 years from now, it's kind of like giving birth, right? We just kind of like, well, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad, right? Because then we have more kids. Otherwise we would not.
Well, paying it forward, right? And my
That
students
too.
now,
That too.
I mean, that's what they do. They get to build an agency and pitch a real client. And I love being able to pay it forward and say, here's what I've
Yeah.
done. Here's what I know.
Here's how I
Learn
made
from
it
me
work.
if you want and absorb. You're going to get whatever you put into it. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely paying it forward and mentoring other people. I mean, I've done the Be Wise program for the Boise Young Professionals, and
Wonderful.
mentoring young people I mean, I needed that. And now I absolutely want to give it to other people when I can, for
So
sure.
cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. All right. For any of our listeners or members who are thinking about starting a business with their partner, or maybe they're already on that journey and maybe hitting a rough patch, what's the most important conversation would you say that they need to have?
Oh, so many thoughts kind of go through my mind. And I think the number one thing that you have to understand is not everybody is entrepreneurial spirit. Not everybody has that entrepreneurial
Yeah.
drive.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you pick a partner that you're going to go into business with, whether it's your husband or your spouse or your any partner,
Mm-hmm.
you have to understand where their skill sets are and where your skill sets are and how
Yeah.
you can come together and understand how you're going to be able to, because sometimes you won't agree. You just won't. No
Right.
matter who you are, no matter what, not everybody agrees with everything, and that's okay. How are you
Mm-hmm.
going to handle it? What's the reaction? What's the plan to get through something like that you don't agree on? How are you going to come through the other side? And maybe talk about the process that you're going to go through when you have disagreements and what does that
Mm-hmm.
look like. Feedback is a gift, I say, right?
Yeah.
And we say, don't deny, defend, or blame. Just say thank you when you have feedback. One of
Mm-hmm.
the things that I've learned is ask if you can give feedback before you
Yeah.
give it,
Mm-hmm.
because that gives a moment of like, okay, she's got something to say to me.
Yeah.
Let me get in the right headspace.
Mm-hmm.
And that's helped a lot, because
Yeah.
I used to just be like,
Go straight for it.
go straight
Yeah.
for it, tell you what I think when I think it and how I think it. But that emotional intelligence to stop, pause, and be like, I have something I need to say,
Mm-hmm.
but I need to think about what they're at and how they're going to receive this
Yeah.
from me. And
Mm-hmm.
that is something I've worked on a lot. I mean, after the
That's
last
great.
20 years, is like,
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to be like the wrath of Ray, right? We want to
Yeah.
have the rewards, right? We want to be in a positive space. So
Yeah.
I've definitely learned a lot over the years. And what I would say to those who are starting a new business in a partnership relationship, whatever it is, have conversations around how you're going to handle conflict and how you're going to be able to give
Mm.
feedback to each other.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to just take a pause and walk away,
Yeah.
and that's okay. And
Mm-hmm.
just notice, like, okay, things are getting heated. I need to
Yeah.
take a break. Let's just take a break. And
Mm-hmm.
that's okay,
Yeah. That's wonderful advice, Ray. Wonderful.
Thanks.
All right. Got a couple. Oh, I've got one more question, and then we're going to go into our fun little power round, which are like our lightning round questions.
Yeah.
And then again, live listeners, if you have any questions for Ray that are a little more specific to maybe what you're dealing with or doing, we love having you here. So feel free to jump into the chat and let us know if you have questions. Looking ahead at the next chapter of your work in life, how are you thinking differently about success, balance, and what you're building together going forward, especially with this new news of this new agency?
I know. Well, right now it's kind of like moment by moment, day by day, just trying to,
Sure.
meet all the new clients and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
fast forward from now, I think the goal that we want to establish is, or maintain. And actually, we're going to be doing goals at the beginning of the year, and kind of really laying these out, our vision of what we want. But some of the kind of the thoughts behind what we want to do is, be in a place where, like Tom just sold his business to us. Eventually, either we're going to be in that position where we will sell our business, and or our employees can, we can go through that process if they, are in a spot where they want to carry forward with having it being employee owned or not, and or I don't think either one of our boys are gonna make. I don't know what they're. I don't know. They're 20 and about to be 18, so they've got some time ahead to figure that out. But I think ultimately we're going to get into a spot where we're not in the day to day as much as we are right now, and I'm going to focus more on the consulting, speaking, authorship kind of area of what I'm already doing, just maybe at a higher, capacity. And I mean, I get to speak all over the world. They fly me everywhere, but I want to maybe hone in a little more on being able to be that speaker that people need from me, the content expert speaker that I am, and do more of that, and also finish another book and get that out in the world. And so those are some of the kind of the sites I see in the future, where we have the staff and the team to fully take on more of the responsibilities that Drew and I are doing now on the operations side for Drew, and for me, kind of the business development, managing, running the company kind of thing, and start to peel off some of those pieces and some of those duties that each of us do to others, and have them be able to be fully sustainable without just Drew and Ray doing the things that need to get done. So that's where I see us in, the next 5-10 years. So that's what we're thinking.
Super exciting. I love it. That's great. And I love that you guys are coming back to it on an annual basis. It's so important. All right. Time for a lightning round.
Okay,
What
here
is
we go.
the best business decision that you and Drew have made together? Would you say?
Oh, best business decision that we made together. Well, this is kind of a fun little, I'll keep it short. We were in northern Idaho, which is about 8 hours from where we are, 6 to 8 hours where we are, on another project. And I got this random phone call on my phone, and it was PMS Production. So Peter Scott McGregory Productions that called, and I'm like, who is this random person calling me? We were in the toy shop buying toys for the boys. There's a cute little locally owned toy shop up there, and I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, I'll answer it. Turns out it happened to be the production company that hired Mr. Harrison Ford himself. And we got to work on a documentary about flight and aviation, because Mr. Ford is a backcountry pilot, right?
Yep.
And so we got to spend a week with production, and there's one of the toughest landing strips in North America is in Idaho, called Wilson Bar. And so this whole documentary, it was for the Smithsonian Wings Over the Rocky Air Museum in Denver, Colorado. So the Rocky Mountains, right, through Idaho and Colorado, right? And anyway, so we got to work on this amazing production that was so cool, and we had to keep it under wraps because no one would know that Mr. Ford was in town and doing all this with us. And the fun little story is that we found out that he likes Scotch. Okay. And I had never had it before. And the liquor store's closed. So I'm calling all my friends who have vacation homes in McCall area, right? In the mountain town resort. Mm-hmm. And we found somebody that can we borrow your bottle of, it was a 15-year-old bottle of McClellan's Scotch, I think it's called. Mm-hmm. And we get it. And one of the evenings that we're doing the dinner, doing the night thing, well, Mr. Ford decides to pass the bottle around, and we all take a swig. And I had never really had Scotch before. I know that you don't just chug it. You just kind of, it's like a sipping thing. And oh my gosh, I had to keep my composure, because when the Scotch went down my throat, it to me, it was like gasoline coming down my throat, because it was too much, and I took too much or whatever. And oh my gosh, I had to keep calm, and he's smiling with his little smirk, and he's seeing what I'm going through, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's my first experience with Mr. Ford and Scotch.
Hilarious. And Scotch. At least you didn't spit it out in his face.
Oh, I know, right? Drew was quoted in the paper, oh my, he was like, holy shit, that's Han Solo. And they actually put the word shit in the paper. Sorry if
it's so funny. No,
it was it was so fun. It was just an amazing, fun experience. So the best decision that we made is taking that phone call
Hell
right?
yeah.
Random
Answer that
number,
phone.
I mean, we get spam calls all the time, but you never know
Yeah.
when it's going to be that call that comes up that you're like, wow, this was such a cool opportunity for us to
It's
get to
amazing.
do and work on
Right?
this and, shoot the footage and audio. And we had a Cineflex helicopter with, because this is before drones, this is 2009.
Yeah.
And it had a camera on it, and the helicopter pilot was like a former helicopter pilot in Vietnam, and he
Oh,
also was the
wow.
pilot in Transformers. And
Oh,
so
cool.
anyway, it was so cool. Such a cool experience.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, sounds like it was pretty surreal. That's amazing. All right, finish the statement. The secret to our marriage surviving entrepreneurship is.
You know, I think the secret to surviving marriage and entrepreneurship is, I think we just have a love for each other that will never go away. I love
Mhm.
him, he loves me, and I know that, and we love each other and our kids, right? And our family. And I
Yeah.
think that sometimes, when I do something stupid and dumb, he
Mhm.
can forgive me. And when he does something stupid and dumb, I hate the word
Yeah.
stupid. Maybe I should say ignorant.
No, it's okay.
We forgive
I
each
know what you
other. We
mean.
forgive, forget, move on, and
Mhm.
carry on. And I think that our secret is that, we love each other, really.
Yeah. When it sounds to at its core, and I think this is important for just any relationship, platonic or otherwise, right? Is that there's trust and respect for each
Hmm.
other,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know? And once that's kind of that when that's broken, it's really hard to make it work no matter what kind of relationship it is. So I love that. All right. What is one boundary that you've set that has surprised your family maybe in the best way?
Oh, gosh, boundaries are always like I don't know. Do I have
Mhm.
boundaries? Yeah, I do. I would say something that I I guess when it comes to how our kids were being raised or the things that we would, want for our kids, that maybe were something that's, some family member wouldn't agree to, or I don't know, whatever. Like, I don't know. I think it's kind of hard to say, but I think, we our kids are good kids, and I think
Mhm.
that we kind of had to set some boundaries about what we wanted as far as for our kids' rules go, and like how they would, be able to interact and behave and be
Mhm.
around. So, when they would go to grandparents or when they go to other people's, like we wanted them to be respectful, and we wanted them to, do all the things that we would do. And my
Yeah.
oldest is an Eagle Scout. The youngest is about to get his Eagle Scout. He's
That's so
finished his project
awesome.
and about
That's
to go
no
through
small feat.
board of reviews and stuff. So, yeah, that would be one thing. I think that would, surprise family. I don't know. Um,
Mhm.
I I don't know. I struggle with it because I probably need more boundaries, to be honest.
Yeah. It's okay. I think we all feel that. We all feel that. It is hard. It is hard. I feel you. All right, this is a fun one because a lot of us here that are listening are working parents, and kids just kind of don't always get it. What I mean, I know your sons are older now,
Yeah.
but what do your sons think that their parents do for work? Or maybe when they were younger, was there any fun interpretations of that?
Yeah, I mean, so we do video production and advertising, full service advertising, but I think that they
Hmm.
were most seeing us doing video because all the gear and the
Ah,
equipment,
yeah.
and they had to load out,
Hmm.
help us load up and load out
Right.
gear. So I think that that's what they thought we did the most with cameras and video, not
Yeah.
necessarily seeing the other side of like the strategy and the planning and the marketing audits that we do. That was not as visible to them. So I think that they just thought that we, mostly made commercials or something like that. There was a time, so we kind of spoiled my youngest son. We did a commercial with Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. It was the big Ford pickup 150 red beautiful sleigh. We turned it into a sleigh, and it was a car commercial, and Mr. and Mrs. Claus were there, and it was a fundraiser or a food drive. And so we were having my son load the truck up with food with Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Well, while we were busy getting the scene set up, Mr. and Mrs. Claus were kind of entertaining and keeping my kid, and he was pretty little. They were coloring with him and just keeping him entertained. Of course, it was Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus. Of course, he felt so special. And he was so convinced and so just believed, because they knew his name and they, talked to him and knew all the things about him. Right. And it took a really long time for him later in life to not, or just to, I don't want to spoil this for anybody, but just to get past that, what happens with parents and and I'll never forget, you lied.
The betrayal. But how fun is that? How fun is that though?
Older brother told little brother, and
of course,
and he
as they
was
do.
just so upset.
Oh my gosh.
Because it took a few more years than the older brother figured it out, but younger brother was so convinced, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, bless his little heart.
Shelf thing, right?
Yeah.
And so Charlie was the elf's name, so they would go up to Charlie and say, "Sorry, Charlie."
I love it. Oh
anyway,
my God, love it. Yeah, no, I think that is the fun part of what we do. I think because there's sometimes tangible things. I mean, my daughter's probably too young to remember, but I took her on set a couple times for photo shoots and commercials, and just letting them see behind the scenes, and kind of know that's really cool, because you're right, when it's intangible and it's like, ooh, hey kids, look at this amazing PowerPoint slide and content strategy. They're like, what? You what?
Yeah.
I mean, even adults are like, what the hell? My parents, they don't even know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's
it
is. I mean, you'd be surprised what you'd remember. My mom in college she worked she did stuff with the PBS station. I remember Big Bird, and I was really little. But Sesame Street was a big thing, and they had this fundraiser thing. And I was probably 3, maybe. At least that's kind of the timing. But I remember Big Bird. I remember that. And I remember
amazing.
Switcher. And, fast forward, I worked in news, and I, worked on a switcher. So, I mean, you'd be surprised, what kids
what
remember.
stays.
Yeah.
What stays. I love that, dude. I just realized I had this moment. I was like, oh my God, Big Bird. I would be fangirling even as an adult. I'm like, oh, does that mean Big Bird's my hear me out? I don't know. I think I just need to talk to my daughter about this. My 12-year-old.
I know. Sesame Street was a big part of my life for sure.
Right? Same. What a cool experience. Well, Ray, thank you so much for bringing such, amazing, authentic energy, as you always do, and some great wisdom to the conversation. You've definitely given our community permission to do something that we don't talk about enough, which is be honest about the challenges of owning, sustaining a thriving business without sacrificing the relationship and the life that we're trying to build, because you're doing both of those simultaneously. So if any of you have been inspired by Ray's journey, I encourage you to check out the Marketing Expedition podcast. Fantastic resource. You can also connect with Ray on LinkedIn to stay in the loop with Pepper Shack Media's work. And for anyone who is watching and or listening to learn what Together Digital is all about, again, check out the website. We're all about creating real conversations with women who are doing amazing things like Ray and are willing to be honest about them, so that the rest of us can, work together and figure it out. So Ray, you're just like a shining light for exactly what the Together Digital community is about. You're full of women who are supportive and encouraging and enthusiastic. We love what we do, and we aren't gatekeepers about it. So definitely loved having you on the show. I know lots of our members will be tuning in. That's all we've got for you today, folks. We hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday. Until then, keep asking, keep giving, and keep growing. Take care, everyone.
Produced by Heartcast Media.